Hello and welcome to the Guerilla Science Space Yoga series. My name is Gemma, and during these videos we'll be exploring the effects of space travel on the human body and mind through the practice of yoga. So if you're ready, let's take our bodies on a journey into space. In this video, you'll be training your body for a spacewalk. This is when astronauts put on a spacesuit and leave the spacecraft to carry out repairs on the outside of the vessel, to test new equipment, or to set up experiments. And such missions often take several hours. Space is what we call a microgravity environment, so there's a very small amount of gravity working on the body, and it's experienced as a feeling of weightlessness. This doesn't mean that going on a spacewalk is easy, however. In fact, it requires very good balance and coordination, and because the spacesuit is such a bulky and heavy piece of equipment, it requires a lot of strength, particularly core strength, to move around in. So I hope that you're ready to work hard as we prepare our bodies for one of the most physically demanding tasks that astronauts face. We're going to begin by coming over onto our backs and do a little bit of core work. So lay yourself down on your mat with your feet flat on the floor, hands face down on the earth, and drawing the belly in towards the spine, you're going to roll up into your bridge pose. And again, really drawing the belly in, rolling all the way down. And we're going to keep this movement going, rolling up through the spine, warming up the glutes and the core, and rolling all the way down. If this is super easy for you and you want to challenge yourself when you're at the top of the movement, make sure you're stabilizing the hips. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, you can lift one leg straight up. Inhale that leg down, and exhale, lift the other leg straight up. So as you do this, really focus on keeping the torso stable, keeping the pelvis stable. Now, when you go on a spacewalk, you put on the spacesuit a couple of hours before, and then you exit the spacecraft through an airlock with 2 doors to make sure that no air escapes. Once outside, there are handrails, foot restraints, and safety ropes to make sure that you don't float away into space. So just finishing this movement, drawing the belly in, and then slowly with control, rolling all the way down. You can hug your knees into your chest. And then bring the knees above the hips. Draw the belly in and really push the lower back down into the earth. So making sure that you keep contact here between the lower back and the earth, not letting it come up at all, really squeezing the abdomen in. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, just bring one toe down. Inhale back to center, and exhale, bringing the other toe down. And continuing this movement on. Again, if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can extend the legs long as you bring them down, making sure that the lower back doesn't come up off of the floor at all. Really squeeze the abdomen in towards the spine. So as we do this, you should start to feel a little bit of heat building in the body. In Earth's orbit, the space station passes through a temperature range from as hot as 120 degrees Celsius all the way down to minus 150 degrees. And the spacesuit has to be able to protect your body from these extremes. So we'll just do a couple more of these. Exhaling as the leg goes away, inhaling up, exhaling away, inhaling up. Okay, and then bring the feet back down onto the floor and just allow the knees to come wide, soles of the feet together, and you can rest your hands on your abdomen. Because there's only the spacesuit to protect you from these extremes of temperature, as well as radiation and speeding space dust, You can imagine how you'd need to keep a really calm state of mind as your body moves around in an environment that it was not built to withstand. So just take a couple more long breaths here, relaxing the abdomen after we've been working it. And then bring the knees together. And we're going to roll along the spine, keeping the belly drawing in, trying to balance without the feet touching the floor. And then come up to balance in boat pose. So really draw the belly in, keep the chest lifted, shoulders down away from your ears. Using the core strength to support the weight of your torso and your legs. Really keep the belly squeezing in, chest lifted one more time. And then gently bring your legs down, cross your feet underneath you, and come to an all fours position. And then we're going to take an inhale, and as you exhale, lengthen the right hand and the left leg away, really focusing on keeping the torso stable as you do so. Another inhale, and then exhale, bring that arm and leg out towards the side. Inhale, back to center, and exhale, bring them down. Other side. Inhale, left arm and right leg. Exhale them out towards the side. Inhale, back to center, and exhale, bring them down. Now, continuing this movement with the rhythm of your own breath, try to tune into how different parts of the core are activated to try and keep the torso stable as you move your limbs. The spacesuit is a really heavy piece of equipment. It weighs 125 kilograms in Earth's gravity and contains an oxygen supply, cooling systems, and jet thrusters so that you can move around should you become untethered from the ship. Because it's so heavy, you need to have really good core strength in order to be able to move around in it and carry out the necessary tasks on the outside of the vessel. So just finishing that movement off on the left side. And you can just drop back for a moment, resting in child's pose, hips onto the heels, and breathing into the back of the body. Coming back onto all fours, tuck your toes under and push back to a downward dog position, turning the tailbone up, relaxing the head, and taking a couple of breaths here. Then walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend the knees, bring the gaze forwards, belly to spine. On an exhale and inhale, stand all the way up. So next we're going to try a variation on chair pose to try and see what it would feel like to walk around in the heavy spacesuit. So with your hands on your hips, feet hip distance, feet in parallel, body weight back, draw the belly in, lift the chest and sit down into your chair pose, drawing the belly towards the spine, keeping the chest lifted. If you want to challenge yourself, you can take the arms up in line with the ears, lifting the chest up as you sit the hips down. Now, staying really low in your chair pose, you're going to start to take little steps along your mat, trying to keep the torso stable, keeping the belly towards the spine. And imagine what it would be like to try and walk around in the heavy, bulky spacesuit. And coming to the front end of the mat, just sit down a little bit more, keep the chest lifted, and then you can stand all the way up. Bring the arms down and step your feet back together. As well as all this core work, astronauts have to complete balance and coordination exercises before they go into space. So now we're going to try a little sequence to test your balance. Bring your hands onto your hips and step your left foot back, coming to Warrior One. Square your hips with the front of the mat, draw the belly in. Inhale, lift the arms up and lengthen out of the waist. And then bend your right knee. Choose a single point of focus, drawing the belly in. You're going to lift up onto that right leg and come down into Warrior Three. Keep the breath flowing. And then without touching the floor, you're going to bring that leg through and kick it forwards into a leg raise. Gazing at a single point, stretch up out of the waist. And then reversing that movement, so we're going to bring the leg back through, come down to Warrior Three, keep breathing, and then with control, landing back in your Warrior One. Bring the arms down and step your feet back together. Other side. Hands on hips. Step now the right foot back. Square your hips with the front of the mat. Draw the belly in. Inhale, lift the arms up and bend your left knee. Choose a single point of focus. Step forwards onto that left leg and pivot down into Warrior Three. Gazing at a single point. Draw the belly in. And then slowly, without touching the floor, coming through to a leg raise. Keep the breath flowing, arms extended. And then slowly, with control, kick that leg back behind you as you bring the body down. And slowly coming back to land in Warrior One. Lift up out of the waist and then bring the arms down and step your feet back together. Return to mountain pose. Body weight back over the heels, chest lifted, roll the shoulders down and back. So now we're just going to come down towards the floor and do a few plank variations to make sure that our cores have really worked hard. So step your feet to hip distance. Inhale, lift up out of the waist. And coming forwards with a long front body, hands onto the floor, and hop or step your feet back to a plank. If you need to come down onto your knees here, that's fine. But keep the body in one line, drawing the belly in towards the spine, shoulders away from the ears, head in line. And if you're in full plank, really active through the legs. Keep the breath flowing. Head in a neutral position, gazing just a little bit in front of your hands. Really using the core muscles here to support your body, not allowing the hips to sink down. And then we're going to come over into a side plank. So bring your right hand to the center of your mat and roll over onto the right foot, extending the top arm up. If you want a little bit of help with the balance, you can bring your bottom foot forward and the front foot back. But otherwise, stacking the feet, lift the hips up. And if you wish, you can bring your gaze to look up at your top hand. Keep the belly in towards the spine, lifting the hips. And then with control, bring that left arm down. Come briefly into your front plank. And then we go to the other side. So left hand to the middle of the mat. Rolling onto the outside of the left foot. Again, feel free to stack the feet if you need to. Extend the top arm, and if you wish, you can bring that gaze up towards space, lengthening through to the fingertips. Keep the hips pushing up, belly towards the spine. And with control, coming again to plank pose. Just a few more breaths here, drawing the belly in, shoulders away from ears. And then you can push back to a downward dog, relax your head, turn the tailbone up. And then roll over the toes, come to kneeling, and we'll make our way over onto our backs for Shavasana. So lay yourself down, keeping the soles of the feet on the floor. Draw the shoulder blades down underneath your heart. Lengthen the hips towards your feet. Palms facing up, arms a little bit away from your body. And then you can just lengthen your legs along the mat and allow the feet to fall out towards the sides, and close your eyes. Relax into the floor. And bring your awareness to your toes and feet, up through the legs, to the hips, the back. Relaxing all the muscles in the abdomen that we've been working. Relaxing the chest, shoulders and arms, the wrists and hands. And relaxing the neck and head, all the muscles of your face. And just bring your awareness to your breathing, the gentle movement of the abdomen as you inhale and exhale. For an astronaut, a spacesuit has to protect them against the harsh environment of space. But here on Earth, all we need is our bodies, which, like a spacesuit, is fitted with an inbuilt heating and cooling system, and a network of vessels that provide your muscles with the nutrients and oxygen they need. And gradually, just start to bring your breath back to a more normal level. Start to invite some life back into the toes and the fingers, the legs and arms. And when you're ready to move, you can just draw up one leg and the other leg, roll over onto one side, and use your arms to bring yourself back to a seated position. Sit up straight, lift the chest, roll the shoulders down and back, and bring your hands to the center of your heart. Close your eyes, bow your chin towards your chest. You can imagine the joy that astronauts must feel when they get to return to their home planet and breathe the fresh air of Earth instead of the recycled air on the space station. You're home. Take a moment just to close the practice, to notice how you feel, and then raise your head and open your eyes. Thanks very much for joining. So today we've worked our core strength, balance and coordination, all things that astronauts need for going on a spacewalk. If you want to challenge your stamina, you can do the whole sequence again. Otherwise, join us next time when we'll be learning about what happens to bodily fluids in space.